The Amelia Island Concours d'Elegance in Amelia Island, Florida, is one of the landmark automotive events that draws the world's finest classic automobiles from all corners of the globe. It was here that Joey met up with Norman Dewis, the legendary test driver for Jaguar, and they met alongside a car that Norman was quite familiar with.
What better place to be than Amelia Island and around one of your original E-Type Jags?
Yes, it's lovely to be back here in Amelia Island and in America, meeting all my old friends that I've met over the years.
Well, thank you. Come on, let's sit in the car and talk about the old days, okay? Come on. Comfortable to get in and out, huh?
Yes, not too bad.
Close the door so you're safe.
Of course, I'm a bit older than I was when we did
Wow. It goes back a couple of years.
this. That's right.
Let's talk about the early days, Norman. When you came to the Jaguar in 1952, the XK120 was the big car at the time. And that was on a regular chassis at that time, and that was ahead of its time.
That's right.
And then it led into the D-Type that eventually led into the E.
C-Type, D-Type.
Sure. Tell me about those days. I mean, you went from a basic car to that.
We developed the disc brake,
Right.
first with the disc brake.
Sure.
Incidentally, with the disc brake, the first race, ever raced disc brake, was the Amelia 52. And I did it with Sterling.
That's right.
was, Yep.
Right.
And so that's how we progressed. It was a small team and not much paperwork.
Right.
Just meet, talk, do it.
And experimented along the way.
I experimented all the way. We really wanted to beat our competitors, Mercedes, Ferrari,
Sure.
and I think we did a good job there.
Oh, sure.
And with the D-Type, that again was a new breakaway, no chassis.
Right.
We had the centre tub like this,
A monocoque.
and and then a front subframe bolted with the engine and suspension.
Right.
And Malcolm Sayer, who did the design, he used the principle of a single-seater aircraft.
Right.
In other words, you got the cockpit, subframe bolted to the bulkhead, and the engine and propeller in the front. So those are the early day principles, but it worked, hands-on, work.
I still own my 1965 Mark II with a 3.4.
Oh, you got a Mark II?
Oh, sure.
Oh.
Besides my E-Types and all the others.
That was a new breakthrough.
Sure.
Unitary construction, no chassis.
Sure. Still today when I drive it around
So
on
you
weekends.
still got it?
Oh, yeah. It's a beautiful car.
You like it?
Red Connolly leather, gold
Oh,
outside.
yeah.
It's a beautiful
Yeah,
combination.
Yeah.
So even for that little motor, which was a 3.4, and then you guys progressed from the 3.4 to the 3.8, and then to the 4.2. The 3.8 was a very revvy motor. It was a nice motor, but you had a lot of torque with the 4.2.
Oh yes, that engine again was one of these engines where the reliability was superb and the performance we got. I mean, 1955 when I drove at Le Mans, the long-nose D-Type,
Right.
that was a 3.4, 192 down Mulsanne, eh?
Out of all the years that you worked at Jaguar, testing all your cars, I think I know which direction you're going to go in, which was your favorite. I know you like them all. Would it be the XJ13?
XJ13.
XJ13
That
was just a beautiful
that
car.
baby,
Yeah.
it's a perfect shape. Beautiful car.
And of course you
And,
experimented with the V12.
And we had a bit of an argument one day. She decided to go in the infield and flip over and
Right.
tell me she
Yeah, that wasn't
gonna
good.
do it.
Right. That wasn't good.
But that's a beautiful car.
Norman, when the V12, when you were testing the V12, was it fuel injected at the time, or were you working with the 4 carburetors?
No, we were working with the carburetors on the first one.
To come out with a V12 that would be mass produced,
Yeah.
and in that era, that was a big feat at the time.
Oh,
that
yeah.
really was a
It
big
was.
feat. At
Yeah.
the
It's a
time.
beautiful engine. It's got low bottom end torque. You can drop it top gear, in 10 mile an hour and still pull away. Beautiful.
And when you had the V12 in the XJ13, that was pure experimental at the time.
That was the first car to test the V12. Oh, sorry, I had already had it in a Mark 10.
In a Mark 10.
Mark 10.
The Mark 10, for
A
people
lot of
that
people
don't
don't know that.
Right, is the big saloon.
Yeah, the big saloon. Because the Series 3 E-Type wasn't ready, the car ready for the engine. The engine
Right.
was ready.
Right.
And Wally Hassan, who had been developing the engine, said, Norman, when you're going to test it? I said, well, when we get the first prototype Series 3 E-Type, we can do it.
Right.
And then one evening I looked in the shop and there's the V12 engine. I'd got a Mark 10 I'd been testing, the engine was out.
Right.
I went in my office, got my rule, measured it, and I I thought, well, we've only got to put the engine mount is 3 inches forward, it'll go in the Mark 10. So I put it in the Mark 10. And the thing was, I used to take it home weekends, the
Right.
Mark 10,
Right.
apart from testing all the week. And I was going down the motorway M1 one Sunday morning to a friend of mine down in London, and there was a Mark II saloon in front. So I got behind him,
Right.
and he started accelerating a bit more, so I kept up with him.
Yeah.
And then eventually, when he was doing about 120 mile an hour, I just pulled out.
Oh, pulled right away.
Right.
Oh.
The thing was, the following Monday morning when I got to work, the security man said, "Norman, we've had a phone call from a man.
You have to watch.
Have we at Jaguar got a Mark 10 experimental fast car?" I said, "Oh no." He said, "Well, this guy's rang up." He said, "He's flew past him doing probably 130, a Mark 10." And so I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, ring him back. When he finds out, will he let me know who it was?"
So, as we come to the end, you have a big birthday coming up pretty soon. So what do you think? I've heard there's been plans. What are we going to be doing for the 100th birthday?
Well, the 100th birthday, we discussed it a long time before I retired. And,
Right.
they said, what would you like if you do achieve the 100, Norman? I said, well, there's only one ambition left for me, and that would be if I can reach 100 on age, then it'd be nice for me to drive the XJ13 at 100 mile an hour.
Wow.
They said that's on, and we're still sticking by that.
Sure.
So we're reaching there slowly. But
Well, believe me, you're going to hit, if anybody's going to hit it sitting in this car, you're going to hit it instead of me, my friend.
Great, thanks
So
a lot.
listen, thank you once again. You're in the Jaguar history
Jaguar.
books forever, my
Yeah.
friend.